All right. So it has been a good long while since I have filmed here, back where I usually normally film. I've been filming at school and it's looked a lot better. Number one, I have a professional camera at school. Number two, the mic's not as good, but the camera makes up for it. But anyway, nevertheless, I am back here. But anyway, now that I got that out of the way, what I wanted to do for you here today was go over something that there's been a lot of people breaking down, guessing, analyzing, because now we're in a spot where the NFL draft is over and we've gone through mini camps, OTAs, and it's kind of not a whole lot of big breaking news to talk about. This year's been a little different. However, still nothing very huge, you know? So, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to just give you um, a breakdown of each NFL rookie quarterback from this year's draft, or at least the key rookie quarterbacks. Basically, just go through if I were them, what I would do, and what they should do in my eyes, what their expectations going to be for this year, and etc. So I'm probably not going to go through all the quarterbacks, but a lot of the key ones I'll go through. So anyway, without further ado, let's start with the number one overall pick in this year's draft. Shocker. Cardinals take Kyler Murray number one overall. So this is rough for Kyler Murray. What he's coming into is he's coming into a team who had a lot of issues, a lot of distrust issues, especially recently coming out with what Rosen said, saying, that the one who drafted him never called him, never contacted him to say, hey, this is what we want. We're just letting you know we're trading you, or we're thinking about trading you, or etc. There's a lot of distrust in that organization. So Kyler Murray is coming into an organization that had a very bad year last year, and there's some issues going on. And, going into the draft, there was a lot of questions on his size, if he made the right decision to play football instead of baseball, etc. But if I were Kyler Murray, what I would do coming into the Cardinals, number one, first of all, number one, I would become very, very tight friends with every one of my offensive line because Arizona has a horrible line. If I'm not mistaken, they're the worst in the NFL. And Kyler Murray, at his size, the questions were his ability to take hits. Coming out of Oklahoma, he had a very, 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 very good line. So did Baker Mayfield. So there's always going to be that question. And I know Kyler, people are talking about his size, saying that it doesn't matter. It does matter. It has an effect. You can't get hit and get up every single time if you're not capable of taking hits. So that's really the questions with Kyler Murray. So number one, I would be very close with my linemen, give them trust, let them know that this is a partnership, no matter what confusion and distrust going on around them. If it were me, I would just say, hey, I got your back, you get my back. So for me, that would be number one. Number two, if I'm Kyler Murray, I would focus on getting the ball out quickly and not having to move around and run around as much because, even though he does have that huge speed, I would really focus on getting the ball out quick and being very efficient on my throws. He is a great thrower. A lot of people didn't see that. A lot of people are, happy with his legs and how quick he moves. That's the key thing a lot of people see about him. They love how he moves. But if I'm Kyler Murray, I'm really, really focusing on, my receivers, getting a connection with them, getting that ball out quickly. That way I don't have to, ESPN, that way I don't have to sit back there and run for my life. Get trust with your linemen, help them get you some time, get their trust, and then focus on getting that ball out quickly and building your relationships with your receivers. And then also, finally, with Kyler Murray, you're close with your coach. He loves you. Love him. ESPN won't stop. Anyway. So build trust with your linemen. Have their back, you have theirs. Or they have yours, you have theirs. Focus on your throwing, getting the ball out quickly, build relationships with your receivers. They brought in a lot of really, really good receivers. So, and not only that, they have Larry Fitzgerald still there. So, if I'm not mistaken, they drafted Hakeem Butler and Andy Isabella, right? And they also have Christian Kirk. So, they got a lot of good receivers there. So, build trust with your receivers, focus on getting the ball out quickly, build that relationship with your coach. Okay, he loves you, love him back, work together. So, for Kyler Murray, that's what I would do. All right, moving on to the second and most talked about quarterback coming out of this draft, not going into. Number 6 overall, Daniel Jones to the New York Giants. Now, Daniel Jones is also coming into a very chaotic situation, or at least in the media's eyes. Maybe not in the locker room, but in the media's eyes, it is very chaotic. And there's a lot of questions on, was he properly the best quarterback to take at 6? And why would Dave Gettleman and the New York Giants do that? Is he good enough? He's got a lot of questions on him, and it's very tough to have to hear all that around you and try to keep your mind on the right path. So, for me, if I'm Daniel Jones, I'm learning from Eli, a guy who I'm very, very similar to. Just learn how he leads, learn how he does things, and I'm shutting out the media completely, and I'm proving to myself and to those people that I can play and I do belong at this level. So that may seem short and simple, but in all reality, he's got the perfect mentor there for him, a guy who's won Super Bowls, who's very similar to him. Take everything you can from him and just prove yourself and get better at the things that you're criticized for. That's all you can do. So, and also be ready to go, because you already know there's a chance that Eli's going to suck. And with you being the number 6 overall pick, you're expected to be ready. So, yeah, that's what I would say as far as Daniel Jones. Moving on, the next quarterback selected, my guy out of Ohio State, Dwayne Haskins, guy who I think could be the best quarterback in this draft. Now, for Dwayne, he's got a chip on his shoulder. There was a lot of hype going around with him and Kyler Murray. Then you have this kid from Duke getting drafted 6th, to where a lot of people thought you were going to go. He's got a big chip on his shoulder. A very, very big chip is on Dwayne Haskins' shoulder. You've seen it when he laughed at that pick during the draft. So as far as what I would do if I was Dwayne Haskins, it's very simple and it's very easy. The Redskins had a very good draft. They give you Terry McLaurin out of Ohio State. So you already have that connection. All you have to do is get yourself ready to start day 1. And it may sound simple, may sound easier said than done, but it's something you have to do. You have to be ready. Case Keenum, there's a chance he starts, but I doubt it, And for Haskins, it's kind of a very weird situation because Colt McCoy is also there. And, one of these guys is going to go, I believe. I think either Case Keenum or Colt McCoy is going to be cut because they're paying Alex Smith a lot of money, and there's a chance he never plays again. So, if I'm Dwayne Haskins, I'm coming in on fire every day, ready to work, win that starting job, and be ready, prepared to start day one. Okay, so there we go. Knocked out the top three. All right, moving on. Next quarterback selected was, I believe, Drew Lock. No, Ryan Finley. I think Finley was first before Lock. Anyway, we're going to go with Finley first. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sorry. I just got off work. I'm just trying to get this video done. Should I prepare more? Yes. But I don't have time. Anyway, so we're going to go with Finley. I think he was first. Anyway, he's a guy that I really didn't like out of these quarterbacks. There was a lot of hype with him. Well, not hype, but there was a lot of people saying he was better than Daniel Jones. I didn't think so at all. I didn't love, but I really liked Daniel Jones. And I certainly didn't think it was going to go that high, but Finley was certainly not over him. And, I think this was a stupid pick from the Bengals. I would just fill another position. Worst comes to worst. If Andy Dalton goes down, tank. I wouldn't have made this pick. But if I'm Ryan Finley, I think that's his name. I don't even know for sure if that's his name. And that just shows you how I feel about him. But if I was him, I would come in and I was similar to Haskins. I'd be ready to start. And, that may sound surprising, but with Andy Dalton's injury history, it's certainly not crazy to say that there's a chance that you may be starting soon. Maybe not soon, but sooner or later, there is a good chance that Andy Dalton may go down. And even if he doesn't go down after the multiple hand surgeries and stuff like that, he may suck to the point where they turn to you. So, other than that, there's really not much else to be said. Learn the system, learn how to be a pro, and be ready to start. Seriously. I think Andy Dalton's time in Cincinnati is starting to slip. So, we'll see with that, but it is what it is. Anyway, now moving on to Drew Lock. Drew Lock's a guy who I really, really, really loved the year before last year. And I spent a lot of time watching him this year at Missouri. I didn't see anything that I loved. I seen a guy who at times was good, but other than that, very, very inconsistent. Some plays he would make a tight window for a 30-yard pass, if not more. Some plays he would miss a wide open receiver. I mean, the inconsistency for me is too big. I wouldn't take him. I was really high on him the year before last. I would say he would be a first-round pick the year before last. Because he was a senior, right? So, coming out, I think I would have been really high on him. But sitting back watching him, no. And actually, I almost feel bad because as many bad quarterbacks picks as Elway has had, with this pick, he got lucky that Drew Lock slipped to them. I was very, very surprised that the Denver Broncos didn't go Drew Lock first round. I thought that was going to be a done deal. They're going Lock first round. Instead, they take tight end out of Iowa, Noah Fant, a guy who I loved. A guy who, if the Browns needed a tight end desperately, I would be all over it. I loved Noah Fant. I think he's going to be a superstar. I think he may be better than TJ Hawkinson, a guy who got the majority of the hype out of Iowa. I really, really, really like him. I know Jake Butt was drafted by Denver, played at Michigan, seen him a lot. I thought he was good. He's had some injury issues. The Denver Broncos have picked their tight end for the future and their next superstar tight end. Noah Fant is a beast. He is a monster. And he's going to be one of those rookies this year who people aren't going to expect to be that breakout superstar. There's always one, at least, an undrafted or something like that. I know he wasn't undrafted. He was picked in the first round. But still, he's a guy who I think is going to, seriously shock the world with how good he is. I truly believe he's a star player. And, for Elway, I was very happy that they didn't go Drew Lock first round, because for them to mess up on another quarterback, it may have been his job. And if Noah Fant turns out to be as good as I think he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be Gronk, but I think he's going to be a superstar tight end. So, that may have saved Elway's job picking Fant if Locke doesn't work out. Now, they traded. Did they trade or they? Yeah, they traded with the Ravens for Joe Flacco. I never have liked Joe Flacco, even in the Super Bowl run. I think he sucks. I never have liked him. I think he is a placeholder for Drew Lock, and I think Drew Lock mid-season will be a starter. So if I'm Drew Lock, I know Flacco said he's not focused on mentoring a young quarterback. That's fine. If I'm Drew Lock, I'm sitting over in the corner and watching from afar. But I'm also working to get myself better to be ready to start, because I do believe midseason he's going to be starting. I don't believe in Flacco as far as he can throw, which isn't very far because he's old and he sucks. So, yeah, Drew Lock, I don't think he's going to be I don't think he'll work out that great, but I hope I'm wrong for Elway's sake. But so yeah. Okay. So Will Grier, I believe, was the next quarterback. He's very simple. Cam Newton may have shoulder surgery, may have some issues there. They bring in Will Grier just as a good backup. And I think Will Grier is going to be a good player. I don't know if he's going to be a star or a franchise quarterback, but he's certainly a guy who I would trust to be a good backup. And I think Will Grier has potential of being a starter. I just don't know how immediate that is. I see him being one of those guys who kind of sits behind and waits, and then when his time comes, it'll come, and it'll be good. Similar to like a Jimmy Garoppolo situation. So, yeah, for Grier, just kind of wait around. It'll come. Your time to step up and be a starter will eventually happen. So, we'll see. And the last one for this video, at least, Jarrett Stidham. Guy who the Patriots drafted out of Auburn. I think Stidham was better than Finley. For me, better than Drew Lock. But we'll see with that. He wasn't drafted to start. He was drafted to come in and sit behind Brady and be the next Jimmy Garoppolo. And, if I'm Jarrett Stidham, I'm learning everything about Brady and what he does to be a success, excuse me. Because even if you're not going to be the next starter for the Patriots, you may be a Jimmy Garoppolo. a Jacoby Brissett, guy who was traded, got money, and got paid and learned from the best. Use that to your advantage. So, yeah, that's all for rookie quarterbacks. I could have gone in a lot deeper with some of them, but may save that for separate videos. But with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. You can find this YouTube channel on Instagram at DF Sports. Appreciate you watching. See you later. Bye.